This week on WestfordCAT News, hybrid learning ends.
So it was one of those tricky things where families were wondering, will my child be impacted by a classroom teacher change? And our answer was, we're not sure until you tell us if you're coming back or not.
COVID's not letting go, and the flags have been at half-staff. I'm Joyce Polino Crane. Stay with us. WestfordCAT News is next. Hybrid learning will come to an end in Westford Public Schools this month. The elementary schools will return to regular school days of learning with students in the classroom. Here's Assistant Superintendent Carrie Cleary on March 29th with the results of a community-wide survey.
This was asking families what their plans were for the full return. They had the option, if they're currently in hybrid, to stay with in-person, but of course shift away from the hybrid because we're no longer doing that as of April 5th at the elementary and the 26th at secondary, and shift to the full return, or they can shift to RLA and be fully remote. On the flip side, for our current RLA students, they were able to select either sticking with RLA through the end of this school year, or they may want to return to go back to the in-person in April. So this is the information that we needed in order to begin class replacements and reconfiguring schedules. So it was one of those tricky things where families were wondering, will my child be impacted by a classroom teacher change? And our answer was, we're not sure until you tell us if you're coming back or not. So you can imagine the frustration there. But the families certainly, we appreciate all year, we've appreciated their flexibility and their cooperation. And sure enough, we do have ultimately what ended up being 100% participation by the end. So we know where everybody is going in April.
Here, Superintendent Bill Olson describes the new rules for loading the returning students onto a school bus.
Most routes will remain the same, although there may be some alterations. Those will be posted on the website this week. Just to remind parents, the bus pass for the remainder of the year is $150 with a $400 family cap. The bus seats will be numbered. There will be a number above each seat on the bus wall above the window. What we're going to do, and this will be in the communication that I send out tomorrow, the bus driver in the morning will load the students from back to front to minimize the passing on the bus, and the child will remain in that particular seat, that seat number, for the remainder of the year, both every morning pickup and the take home in the afternoon.
To watch the entire school committee meeting on demand, visit westfordcat.org. Select board members Scott Hazelton and Anita Tonakarn Nguyen led a discussion on March 30th with Town Manager Jodi Ross on what type of new police chief residents hope to find. Ross explained the process of hiring a chief. She also voiced her preference for hiring from within.
Yes, I made the decision that we should keep this in-house. We have 49 police officers, and I am a very strong proponent of promoting from within. We have a very well-run police department. We have not fired a gun in 50 plus years. We have never used excessive force. Are we perfect? No, but we have a group of really excellent officers that receive top-notch training. So to pull an officer from another town and bring them to our town, in my opinion, is not the best way to ensure that we continue the excellent police department that we have and improve upon that. And so that's why I support promoting from within. We have done that throughout the history of the Westford Police Department, and I did not see a reason to stray from that.
To watch the entire listening meeting on demand, visit WestfordCAT.org. A 62-year-old man died from injuries sustained when a car allegedly hit him along Route 40 at 5:35 p.m. on March 30th. The driver of a Cadillac sedan was headed west on Groton Road when he allegedly struck the bicyclist at the intersection of North Street. The rider was rushed to Lowell General Hospital, where he died. An investigation is underway. Michael Coulson, Westford Academy history teacher, was expected to be arraigned on February 10th on charges of criminal harassment and identification fraud against a Westford resident, according to an Air District Court official. His arraignment was pushed back 3 times and is now scheduled for April 16th. Coulson is the former president of the town's teachers union, known as the Westford Education Association. Coulson's lawyer, Lisa McKinney, was not available to speak. In the meantime, Superintendent Bill Olson was asked at a public meeting if Coulson still worked for the school department. The superintendent said Coulson continues to be paid his salary, but is no longer teaching or working inside a Westford school building. Westford is experiencing a small surge of new cases of COVID-19, raising concern with Health Director Jeff Stevens. "We are clearly seeing cases rise locally," he wrote in an email to WestfordCAT. "Many of these cases involve complex families, but the vast majority are very random cases. According to Stevens, since March 24th, there have been 41 new cases of COVID. There are 1,265 total cases, 53 active cases, and since the pandemic began, 27 deaths." If you're wondering why the flags were at half-mast this past week, it was to honor the March 22nd victims in Boulder, Colorado, who were shot and killed while shopping at a grocery store, allegedly by a lone shooter. A few days earlier, 8 people in and near Atlanta were shot and killed by a lone gunman. The order for half-mast is given by the president and is meant to be a mark of respect. And that's it for now, Westford. I'm Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.